Liana, and a surprise addition, Bianca. Bianca, thank you for joining.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. This is just going to be a regular shoot the shit episode. But first, something that came up after I started getting things going was that apparently Joker 2 got its script finalized and they're ready to enter production next year. And at first, I was one who felt like, yes, we should get a sequel. But now that it's died down and I've rewatched the movie, I'm asking, do we need it?
No.
Or just because it got the $1 billion club?
No.
But do we need another superhero movie? No, we don't.
But I'm saying, do we need a Joker sequel? Does it ask itself for a sequel? Can they make a sequel out of it?
Is it interesting? I mean, we don't need it, but is there of benefit?
I mean, obviously Philip said he has a story to tell, so I'm curious, but... And then there's the rumors that they have Lady Gaga play Harley.
Whoa. I'd watch for that. No joke, I'd watch for that.
You would?
Yeah, I am one of those people who is not the biggest fan of Margot Robbie's Harley. Not necessarily because of the way she plays it, just the character has never been terribly well utilized in anything.
Understandable.
There was that one great scene in Suicide Squad, but getting there was like she was on a plot line that just completely ran parallel to the rest of the movie. It's like James Gunn wrote this script and like, hey, it's great, but put Harley Quinn in it, right? He's like, shit.
Yeah.
But
although I do want him, and we'll get to it when we talk about Peacemaker, I wouldn't mind seeing him adapting the Jemmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor era, where she's in Coney Island. She has all those supporting cast. I think that screams for an HBO Max series.
No, if we're doing HBO Max, we're doing Harley and Ivy.
Well, true.
That has to happen.
We can still include them in. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we can still include them in. I mean, Harley and Ivy was there for the first arc.
Gaga and Harley Quinn. Gaga as Harley Quinn. I am sold. If that ends up happening, I mean that. Listen to the lyrics of Bad Romance.
True.
Like it's straight up perfect.
But would people see Harley or would they see Gaga? That's the question. Can she lose herself in the role?
Oh, Harley is Gaga.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Gaga can do it. Have you seen A Star Is Born?
No, I have not.
Oh, after a while,
she definitely has acting ability.
Oh, she
like
does.
If she can do Harley Quinn. I fully have confidence in her that she can actually.
All right. I'll take both of your ladies' opinion and everything. I just know her from her music mostly.
Me too.
No, she when she acts, she was on American Horror Story.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
She's really good in that. And then House of Gucci, like you forget it's Gaga. You forget it's Gaga after a while, and she is. I mean, let's face it. In her music stuff, she's acting. That is not the way she goes about her day-to-day life.
True.
And she's very method, so she'd be a good fit with Joaquin Phoenix, who's like the king of method.
I thought it was little.
Yeah, that's understating.
So you're saying, in other words, she wouldn't be a Madonna type of situation where it's like, get the woman off the screen.
I don't think I've seen Madonna in anything.
I don't hate Madonna's acting.
Well, the only time I ever thought it worked was in Dick Tracy.
When her face was covered for most?
No. When not that part. When she was actually the singer, that was basically being a Marilyn Monroe type.
She was basically being Madonna at that point.
True.
I liked her in A League of Her Own, in A League of Their Own.
Oh, Dolly, I keep forgetting about her in that.
Desperately Seeking Susan. Like, when she's not playing Madonna, she's all right.
What about her cameo in Die Another Day?
I've
the fencing instructor.
Oh, I've blanked that.
The fencing instructor. Yeah.
I mean, Evita, she overdid, but Madonna can be good. But Madonna, I think Madonna is much more invested in her pop persona, whereas Gaga uses it as artifice to kind of hide behind, and that's the difference between the two of them. I mean,
that's
Madonna.
The funny thing about,
sorry, go ahead.
That's the funny thing about Gaga is if you actually look at the stuff with Gaga and then you look at what she was beforehand, it's not one of those cases where she totally changed herself from her old days. No, it's an extension of her old days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? Because some people, when you see them, they went from YouTube sensation to big time. They basically sell out, they water down. No, in her case, it's like, oh, I actually have the funds to do what I want to do now.
Well, I mean, she's a classically trained musician, though, too.
Oh yeah, I've seen that stuff of her doing the piano and everything, and yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm good with Gaga. Gaga's one of those people I'm not at all objective about. It's Gaga, yes.
Yeah.
You know, there are a handful of performers, and it's like Gaga, yeah. Woohoo.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen the trailer for the Halo series?
Oh, Halo series. I had high hopes for
Well,
the
at least
previous...
John Taylor's doing Cortana still, at least.
Yeah, but I had high hopes for the last Halo series because Mike Cotler
Infinite?
is another actor who I will watch anything he's in.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a good show.
You're talking about the movie, you're about the live action stuff, you mean.
The series that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was still easy on the eyes, but it was not good.
Right.
I am kind of done with Halo. I hate to admit that.
Well, I liked Infinite. I thought the Infinite was a good game, and especially a good way of undoing the mess they did with 5.
I still haven't forgiven them for that. I'm not objective. I just feel like they so broke what worked with Halo.
Oh yeah, I think Infinite was a good. The fact they openly admitted their faults, their flaws. Okay. I mean, have you played it, or have you seen the stuff about the story?
I haven't played much story. I've sampled it because I was so.
Well, do you know what happened at the end? What we find out happened.
Not so much that. To me, Halo lost its soul when it took out 4-player couch co-op.
Yes. Once they made it, you were required to have an Xbox Live stuff. I agree entirely.
Yeah, it sort of missed the reason why Halo was such a cultural phenomenon, because that's some of my fondest memories of Halo, like couch co-op gaming. And that's what kept me playing Halo when it wasn't so great. And
I hear ya.
It just, Gears kept its couch co-op. They had to chuck out a bunch of other things to do it, but they they looked at their data and they didn't chase esports. You know, they were like, most of our players are playing campaign. There's, a significant co-op contingent. It's Gears. That's part of Gears. Halo. I don't know.
I think they more lost it when they decided everything, the comics, you have to read everything. You have to read the novels. You have to play the comics.
I agree with you.
That's the moment when they sold their soul, when they had to feel like that. And at least they didn't do that here. Once they realized how big of a mistake.
Some of those books were okay. Some of those Halo books were okay.
But 5 is where it was the most egregious, though, where it said you had to. That's when it's like, so at least thankfully they realized their mistake. They took some time off and they decided, okay, focus on putting everything in the game.
I admit I was shaky. 3, I started going. Bungie's phoning it in, and then ODST. People still scream at me to this day.
You didn't care for Reach?
I liked Reach as like an extended canon game, but in terms of the core Halo experience, it wasn't there for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
you, Bianca?
What?
You ever played Halo?
No.
Bianca's too cool for Halo.
Well, she apparently doesn't like RoboCop either.
What?
Because I recorded a video earlier. Bianca was in there with a few others, Ingrid and my friend Eric. And I did one of my pro teaches noobs about Frank Miller's RoboCop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I think Frank had a good hand on RoboCop. But if you want an example of its first script, a guy who never did a movie before but had plenty of comics, looked no further than the script, and how overly wordy and just all over the place that script was. But then when he did the third movie, it was much more simpler. You could tell he learned his lessons.
Finally.
Yeah. Didn't I mean? It made a better send off, if you ask me, than what we got for RoboCop 3.
Well, I mean, that's one of those franchises where, okay, child of the 80s, right?
Yep.
RoboCop was one of those things. It was a very bloody movie.
Yep.
Right?
Very
That
much.
was the whole thing. We were in that beefcake cinema. Racking up a body count in movies was cool. The 80s, the decade where children's TV tortured children.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor of Transformers the movie, right?
Oh
The never-ending
yeah.
story. But yeah, I mean,
Don Bluth movies.
yeah, even those. But
Yeah, I mean, how many of those was torture the kid to the point, but then give it a happy ending at the end? No one will notice.
all of them. That was the 80s, right?
Yeah, just was traumatize these kids, but then give them a happy ending.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, people seem to read in more to RoboCop than what was there.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of that from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Certain 80s properties, I will go to the mat arguing they were brilliant. The Golden Girls series.
Yep.
The Golden
I'm on
Girls.
season 2.
Nice. I'm so ahead of its time, that show. But a lot of stuff from the 80s was just fun. Occasionally you got something that was both, like the original Ghostbusters movie, utterly brilliant script, right?
I'll be getting that on Blu-ray, the 3-movie set. I'll be getting that in.
Nice. So which one did they drop? No.
It's the regular 3-movie one. So it's 1, 2, and Afterlife.
Okay.
But it's not the ultimate. It's not the ultimate collection. It's just the regular, 3 discs.
Thor is not in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No 2016 movie. I already have that on Blu-ray. I already got that on Blu-ray.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff in the 80s was really fun. Hi Nick. Was really fun. People have retroactive, and we've talked about this a lot, Robert.
Yep.
People have made retroactively a lot more than what was there.
Mm-hmm.
And
He-Man, for example.
Even stuff like Thundercats, like if you think too deep,
I love Thundercats.
Well, I love Thundercats too, but if you think
I
too
love them
deep
more
about that, no, not possible.
I'm kidding. I wasn't there during that time. It's just that when the 2011 reboot.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, when the 2011 reboot, before its premiere, they had a whole Thundercats entire season marathon before it.
It holds up, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I loved it.
It really holds up. Especially, it's one of those shows where, and that's one thing about the 80s I've noticed. When they have a multi-parter of any type, it's always the best. Best writing, best animation, anything. DuckTales did it. Thundercats did it. Any show that had multi-parters, those are the ones you had to watch.
Thundercats just held up and I was a huge fan of both as a kid, but Thundercats just holds up. The scripts are better, the concepts are better. That doesn't mean there's parts of it that aren't like incredibly silly, but just overall, I think it does hold up better than the original He-Man stuff.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree with that so much.
Oh my gosh. I can agree with that too.
Well, it was definitely more. We didn't call it anime back then. We called it Japanimation, but it was definitely more.
Remember that? Still call it Japanimation, though.
Yeah, but it was definitely more anime inspired than He-Man was. And
yeah, well, they definitely got the people for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that intro alone.
And I mean, oddly sexy character designs for show aimed at children. Just saying.
Well, better than Roar's take on it.
Okay, Lion-O's armor makes no sense. It is missing. It's not armor. I don't know what that is. Like
Lion-O has armor?
Well, he's got this. It's
wearing a leotard.
Shit, where's the toy? Well, yeah, but even the leotard has like a cutout right here. Like, what's that about? Especially since Liana mentally is the same age as Wile E. Kid and Wile E. Cat. This is what I'm saying. Don't think too hard about Thundercats. It gets dark super fast.
Hey, when the fact that you have your main villain say, ancient spirits of evil, transform this decay form to Mumra, the ever-living!
They let Mumra be scary on that show, man.
Yeah.
Hey, did you like my delivery?
That was pretty good, man.
Robert,
I just love your natural speaking voice. I admit that's a big reason I come on this podcast, just to listen to you talk. It's just so great.
I like my voice is when I do that. I mean, have you ever heard me do Dr. Robotnik from Sonic AM? I really hate that hedgehog.
Just keep going.
Roll. Shut up, Sniffly!
We got an hour.
Like, a power ring. You won't think that will work this time, Hedgehog. I made this roboticizer just for you. The fact I'm just doing Jim Cummings, or I am the terror that flaps in the night.
Another underrated freaking classic.
Love Darkwing so much.
Oh, Darkwing
It's on Disney
Duck
Plus, and I'm pretty sure I put it on my list.
Oh,
is it on Disney Plus?
Yes.
Oh my God! See,
but unfortunately, it does not have the stuff from the Darkly Dawns of Duck. It's the edited version, not the uncut version.
That's okay.
What did they take out?
Oh, there's just a few shots here and there in the beginning that are great stuff that it just feels like, oh.
Well, it was the furry version of the Shadow. That's what I'm like.
Funny thing is, originally it was supposed to follow up on the Double O Duck stuff from DuckTales originally.
Yeah, that's why Launchpad's in it.
But I can understand why Broccoli, the James Bond of and everything, didn't want to do it, because it's one thing when you have it be in an episode. It's another thing when you have the entire show doing it. Plus, he was already dealing with the guy who did Spectre, who was trying to make his own movie franchise with, Never Say Never Again. I think he didn't want the mouse to interfere in it and have toys based off of a knockoff.
I just think it's also, Drake Mallard is Kent Allard, the print, not even the radio and film version of The Shadow. Mm-hmm. It's the print version of The Shadow. I love the old pulps.
Yep.
And I don't think that Dwayne Johnson, Doc Savage movie is ever going to get made now. But, make sure.
The Gosling stuff, though, is what makes it unique.
The thing about those old pulps, though, is that's where, we wouldn't have Batman were it not for those old pulps. Batman somehow managed to eke out, like, he is the connective tissue between the old crime comics pre the 10-Cent Plague and modern superhero comics, right? We owe so much to those pulps and collective memory of them, even with all the terrible apparel stuff that ended up in them.
Oh boy.
It's been lost, and I really think that overall in this sort of popular art stuff, we need to be more genre literate, and so anything that keeps that stuff alive. Never mind that the Rogues Gallery and Darkwing Duck is just excellent. Oh my God!
Hold on, actually, I'm gonna go get the comics. Hold on.
We have got Robert nerding.
How are you doing?
I'm good. We're talking about Darkwing Duck. How are you? You haven't seen
good.
Darkwing Duck.
I had Jason Aaron on a while ago. Seriously, this comic is got a spam bot. Hold on. Got a spam bot.
Have to give shout outs to Darkwing. He is another pantsless Disney superhero. Rock on, buddy.
Yep. Oh boy, seriously, getting all those spam bots. I better load up my the actual chat thing, stream stuff on my end so I can mute them. Unless you want to do that, Bianca.
Sure. You want me to?
Yeah, you are a mod, remember?
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, though, with this though, I just love this. Oh, by the way, Jim Cummings autograph.
Oh, sweet.
But yeah, Aaron Sparrow, though, this stuff was perfect. But yeah, you had Quacker Jack, you had Megavolt, you had Liquidator, you had Negaduck.
Oh,
speaking of which, there's a point in here where I love how we find out why Drake has given up being Darkwing. Because right before these bots show up, you actually had it be that turns out thanks to Launchpad, Negaduck found out where he lived and found out about his identity. But I gotta say, I love Negaduck's little speech. Hold on, let me find it. Here it is. And who better than you to lecture about me about making mistakes? Because compared to the ones you've been making, mine would even crack the top 20. It's that pea-brain pilot of yours. He was the key to all of this. See, I was taking my laundry to the worst dry cleaners in town. Of course he would. And guess who I saw coming out? Your big galoot of a psychic carrying 2 pairs of clothing. The first, a pathetic purple version of my fancy duds. The other, an ugly green and pink shirt. Actually, it's salmon. Shut up! As I was saying, that was the loose end. I needed to untangle everything. In the Negaverse, I never needed a secret identity. When you're this freaking awesome, why would you have to ever pretend to be anything less? But you wanted to live in 2 worlds. Adventurer, family man. Too bad you couldn't keep your world separate, because now I'm going to rip them both apart. That is perfect Negaduck right there, isn't it?
Epic.
Just look at that, and just to look at his face.
I mean, the way they adapted the Shadow and threw in elements of James Bond and threw in elements of, some of those Dick Tracy and all those characters, it's just it was a time. It's up there with Gargoyles.
Oh,
yeah, time in Disney TV animation that just didn't get its due. It was during a weird period, the features resurrection with the Little Mermaid, that Disney was sort of struggling and things just didn't get their due. So yeah, I'm real I'm not a big thing of nostalgia properties, but something like Gargoyles or something like Darkwing Duck that really didn't get a chance properly the first time around, I think there's some potential there.
Oh yeah, especially when you have now with Gargoyles, what really helps. What helps that though is the fact that you still have Greg Weisman has everything planned. If you looked at the comic continuation he did, that undoes season 3 entirely, he had a lot of good ideas there. Yeah. He had a spin-off going on there.
I'd just start from the beginning though. Like I'd just completely reboot, take people through it again, get Keith David back.
I loved at the end of DuckTales, the reboot, how they actually do a spoof on Goliath at the end.
DuckTales, the reboot, was much better than it deserved to be. I was surprised by how good that show was.
I still have to finish it.
I love that reboot.
I've got so many. Are you guys having like a streaming show limbo at this point that you just haven't finished watching a bunch of things for no real reason?
Yes. Because of what you didn't jump onto something else.
Yeah. That, and it's like I don't want it to end, right? I haven't finished Lucifer. Hi, Hominus. I haven't finished Lucifer. I haven't finished the latest season of Cobra Kai.
I still say this though, season 2 had the best finale still, as far as action.
That brutal fight.
And the school and the music and everything.
The house fight was pretty brutal though too. I mean, the
music is what sold me on that one. But by season 4, good God, you are going to. Let's just say there's a twist at the end you don't see coming.
Okay, because I'm almost at the end.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a big dramatic shakeup.
Okay.
Period.
I mean, I'm expecting it. I think that's part of the reason
Well, given how you know they're going to do more seasons, you know how the tournament's going to go, at least.
Right.
That much is fine, but it's what else happens that is is going to be the big twist. And yeah, hey, Hominets, how's it going?
Hey, how do we feel about Book of Boba Fett?
I haven't seen it.
I'm like the only person who's...
I mean, I don't love it. I don't hate it. I just don't love it compared to Mandalorian.
I think Tristan watches it.
I don't think she has actually. I think
she put that as a title in her video before.
True, but that was for a stream. I think that was for a stream.
Are you current on Boba Fett?
I know about the Mandalorian having the Darksaber.
Okay, well that's a whole. But the last episode, Boba Fett wasn't in it. It was just a Mandalorian
I know.
episode.
It's like, what the heck? Why does it's just like, what the hell?
Well, because let's face it, this whole show, Boba Fett is just tiding people over
until they figure out what to do with Mandalorian.
Well, so they can get Pedro Pascal back from the 6 other things he's doing at any given time, but I think
now,
also
do you think they're gonna bring back
Grogu?
Yeah, no. Jeez, what's her name?
Carano?
I think. The actress.
Tina Carano.
Carano, yeah.
I think they're kind of positioning Fennec Shand to be the replacement for her, which I like. What's her name? Ming-Na Wen. I really enjoy her.
But she's with Boba.
But I mean, let's face it. This is Mandalorian season whatever 0.5 book of Boba Fett.
2.5, yeah. But again, do you think they'll bring Godot back? Not Godot. Carano? Or do you think that bridge is sailed?
Before Peacemaker blew up, I would say no.
But they know now with Peacemaker.
Okay, Disney has a problem with actresses going rogue.
Evangeline Lilly going her stuff.
Yeah, and I made a joke about that on Twitter.
I saw you made a joke, and everyone once again takes you so damn seriously.
Most people took it for the joke it was, and a couple people gave me credit for not jumping on the "this is not the way" thing because Mandalorians wear masks all the time. But I thought I'd go another angle on the joke, but people just like it was only like 4 or 5.
But they were persistent.
But it was a sort of thing. I'm like, I want to crawl inside your brain and understand what is causing this reaction, because I used symbiote as a verb. How is anyone serious in that context? But it just shows how raw the nerves are around. I mean,
Tristan just did a video about the Ezra Miller stuff, and guess what happened? Someone shared it in a white supremacist Discord, and they all came careening into her comment section in that video. I'm not kidding.
No, what's the Ezra Miller white supremacist?
The stuff. Okay, Ezra Miller, a person's house got burnt down, a black person. So Ezra Miller made this video calling out those who were part of the Klan, saying just kill yourselves. Stuff like that. And Tristan did a video about it. She even said, but the video was just simply saying, we don't know what happened. This
is the guy who's playing the movie Flash, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Basically Tristan was just doing a video about it. Didn't make any absolutes about it, but someone had decided to share it. He had all these idiots come on in, and it's just like, oh, good God, leave her alone.
But that is, I mean, nobody on a major... I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I realize I have to declare what I'm doing in thought exercises now because people collectively, they have this haze of fear going on with everything. Let's play devil's advocate here. Should somebody backing a major superhero film
You wore a flash ring too during this video.
Yes, but should they be telling anybody to kill themselves?
No,
I don't care how despicable.
No, of course not.
So, okay, there is some room for debate here.
Yes, that's true.
He also said that if you don't do it yourselves, we'll do it for you.
So he threatened them.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. He did some interesting stuff that was
strangling a woman stuff.
I mean, he was the guy that also did a photo shoot in like high-heeled shoes, like Playboy Bunny stuff, right around the time Justice League came out, which I'm good with. I thought they were cool photos, but if you you want people to see you as the Flash now, not the creepy guy from Fantastic Beasts. Is this the best time?
No, it's not. And again, when people bring up the strangling stuff, he then says, "Oh, I'm a Neanderthal."
And I mean, again, let's be consistent here. People are saying Ray Fisher's career is over for a lot less.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Ray Fisher's clearly traumatized by whatever happened to him.
But Ray keeps on bringing it up, I think. I think it was Ezra. He's just doing different stupid stuff.
Yeah, but this is where I'm like, we need some consistent rules of how much peopledom do people playing fictional characters, how much are they allowed to have? Because this keeps happening, and it just seems to me that a lot of people have done things way worse than what Gina Carano did. And it's like the floodgates have just opened up, so they can't possibly get rid of everyone now. But it's making what happened to Gina Carano seem more and more unfair.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why I'm not ruling
Especially
out...
since she got warnings, I've been told, from what she was doing.
And that's the part that, yes, I think
but these people, but some of these other crowds want to ignore the warnings and say, "Oh, they still should have done it." Like, how many more warnings should you give them? Unlimited, because it's Gina. It's like, no one's untouchable, guys.
The big problem with the Gina Carano story is the straw that broke the camel's back was actually widely misreported. And that's the sort of fly in the ointment. Otherwise, it would have been, okay, yeah, she was told to knock it off multiple times. She didn't, but to me, that looked like her. She's an ex-MMA fighter. We don't assume a ton of wisdom in people who get kicked in the head for a living, right? I thought she was actually trying to do a reach across the aisle with that one and find some sort of common language and actually sort of seeking out humanity in a backwards sort of way. And that was the thing that got her canceled. It still isn't as stupid as canceling James Gunn over 10-year-old tweets when he was a trauma edgelord. But, you know...
Now, here's one thing I got to ask. Do you think, when he keeps on saying he's done after Guardians of the Galaxy, do you think he's still holding resentment for them firing him? Or do you think it's a case where he's done at Marvel and he prefers DC because they're giving him more freedom?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a creative control thing. He can go in and do your superheroes a go-go forever.
But unlike other creators who have come and wanted to take it, he doesn't want to change the characters too much. He still wants to stay faithful to the characters within reason and still tell a good story. Whereas some people, they said, let's drastically change the characters because I want to just put my own vision on.
Okay, he drastically changed a lot of Suicide Squad characters, though.
Oh, but with Vigilante, for example, I think we're more finding out he's not as different as we thought. On the surface, yes. But the more we're seeing of him, the more it looks like he's...
No joke, I love Vigilante.
Oh, I do too. But
are we officially talking about Peacemaker?
Yes, let's talk about Peacemaker. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I love the show. I did not think I would love it as much as I was going to, but Kemper's like, you killed Rick Flag, you son of a... Why should I care about you? And then you're like... That's the fact you have that moment in the beginning where it's like, oh yeah, you're the guy that's racist. No, I'm not. You're just like, oh... And then the moment I saw his dad, first of all, Robert Patrick, great job at it. But the moment you see his dad, that just spelled everything. You're just like, oh.
The line for me that I'm like, this understands exactly what it is was that moment where he's talking to Harcourt and says basically, your tits look great. That's a compliment. It's not sexist. I can break that down for about 20 minutes why that was such brilliant writing. Because he knew how it could be interpreted, but he said it anyway because his need to be alpha male overrides
but he can't stand it.
All his good sense.
And that's the funny thing that Tristan has put it best. this show is so woke, but it's so woke in the right way. It's woke in the way that's like, it's taking fun at the woke, too.
It is, but at the same time...
Kitty!
Oh, I saw Kitty. Yep, I saw Kitty in the background.
Oh, hi, Scouty. It is woke, but it is also anti-woke.
Yeah.
It's satire.
It is.
It's satire, and
that's what I love about Gunn so much. If you look at his tweets, even he's never completely one side or the other. I think he's more of a centrist than, maybe not centrist, but he leans closer to the center than a lot of others in Hollywood compared to others.
He's an absurdist. He's an absurdist, and I mean, pardon my language, this is sort of blue, but the whole lesbians finger bang comment, and what's her name goes, we finger bang more than any other group on the planet.
I forgot they had fingers for a second.
Yeah, I forgot women have fingers. Like, it was just so deconstructing.
No, he forgot lesbians had fingers.
Yeah, forgot lesbians have fingers. Yeah, but the dialogue flies through. I mean, the wonderful thing about Peacemaker is because Peacemaker's a wonderful thing. I'll sing the Tigger song later. But it shows the exact point where toxic masculinity descends into homoeroticism.
Yes!
Like, that whole extended thing.
Then I hope of him dancing in his underwear, for example. Just that alone.
But also that whole extended thing about, you've got your dick out, I'm going to turn around and see your dick. It was that happened to him at some point. And
whether from Vigilante, probably not, but probably someone else.
Someone else, yeah. And the fact that
Vigilante's completely just like, what to? No!
But then he's got everybody he named after their penis. It's like, that's what guys who are struggling with the fact that they might not be straight do.
Yeah. But I think though, in Peacemaker's case, I think it is clear it's very straight, but it's that type of, so straight, he's toppling over.
Oh, there was that one quote he did where he was looking at the albums and he was saying, "This is my jam," where real men weren't allowed to wear makeup like women or something, like dress up like women.
Oh, something from was it from Kiss or something, or
no? It was some other bands. I should know because I only know Kiss. That's what it was.
It was Poison.
Poison, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, even the fact that the theme is from a band named Wigwam. I mean, most people wouldn't go there just because.
Oh yeah.
But it's like they have overdosed on potential outrage moments. It's unlike that, one scene in every Sex and the City episode where everybody goes batshit over. There's so much in every episode of Peacemaker you can't single out.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, I gotta say though, I kind of figured Munn was a butterfly from the moment he was just having that weird talk with what's his name,
economics or something.
Yeah. That's that weird talk about feeling. That's the moment where I'm just like, he's a butterfly.
That's so comics, though. That's so comics.
Oh, it is. It really is. Tristan's still convinced this is tied to the Reach. What do you from Blue Beetle? What do you think?
Well, they are introducing Blue Beetle, but I wouldn't be surprised if they had Peacemaker as sort of a standalone thing with possible tie-ins because they didn't know how this was going to go.
Yeah. The fact that now they're officially greenlit a new spinoff.
Oh, something else from Suicide Squad. Yeah, I'm hoping it's a Polka Dot Man show.
Oh, so you think he survived?
I hope it's a prequel.
Okay.
All that fucked up shit with his mom. I want to watch that.
Yep. But now, what about Ratcatcher?
He said
I do want a Ratcatcher one, but I don't think there's just not enough material or whatever. Like, we already seen her backstory in the movie.
Yeah, that story's told, right? The story with her dad, that very bittersweet story.
Oh yeah, that was.
We don't need that.
No, but we can do a follow-up.
Yeah, but that's
or we can make an educational show.
True, and you know what, you got a point there because there's a lot of potential in her, but it would be more straight than the comedic, which is not Gunn style.
But he has said it's going to be less comedic, but he didn't say it was going to be less horror.
Ooh, but there's no way it's going to be King Shark because let's be honest, that'd be way too CGI heavy just for the main character alone.
And Nom Noms is straight up comedy.
Nom nom.
Nom Noms. Like,
Now,
I
what
love
was
King Shark.
Bloodsport, though? What about Bloodsport?
Do you think Idris Elba would be tied down to TV?
If they pay him enough. But there is talk, though, of the Eon are actually trying to, they're now considering him for Bond.
I'm afraid they won't go there, but I'm still
I
calling
take
Polka
it.
Dot Man.
I take it. If there's anyone who could be, I think people would accept as a black James Bond, it's him.
That kind of sucks, though, when you say
There are
it
some
like
concerns
that.
about
Oh
his
no, no,
age.
no! I know it does suck, but it's when you see about it, that's the one that everyone seems to always accept.
Okay, I have a spicy take on the whole black James Bond thing.
What's that?
Is this something where representation is well placed? Should we be instead creating more interesting stories that we can use a black spy, like, and this is where a black spy,
That's not James Bond.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't want another James Bond movie. I want a License to Kill movie where they use those remaining characters from No Time to Die and see what they're doing without Bond.
Oh, that would be interesting. That would be very interesting.
Like that one scene-stealing lady from
Paloma.
Yeah,
I loved her. And the fact that's the girl from Knives Out. The reason why they brought her in there was because of the fact that she had such great chemistry with Craig in Knives Out.
Yeah, like.
But she's right up there with people are loving her. She's right up there with Michelle Yeoh as far as best Bond girls.
And that was my previous favorite. I don't know. I'm torn because Eva Green.
I still think Tracy's my favorite from. I still think
okay.
Tracy's my favorite from On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I don't know who we're talking about.
Oh,
James
girls.
Bond girls.
Yeah,
Although, can we all agree? Can we all agree the worst one was from A View to a Kill?
I've never seen any Bond movies.
What was her name? The main Bond girl in that one.
I'm blanking.
Hold on. I'm looking. Not Grace Jones. She was Tanya Roberts and Stacey Sutton.
Okay. I don't know. I love Idris Elba. And I'd like to see him not locked into a 5-picture deal.
True, and I think he's too old to do a multi-picture like that.
See, I want to see him in something with, I don't know, more. It sounds weird, but more gravitas. I'm reaching. I'd like to see him.
And the guy's had so many great potential roles, and they end up being duds, like him in Star Trek Beyond. Great stuff, but he was covering in so much makeup at one point, and the character was so underutilized. You didn't understand you really didn't care about his motivation.
Okay, but Idris Elba is so cool that in the original Thor, he was just so awesome that everybody went, okay, a Norse god's a black guy.
Yeah! Unless you're one of those people who just hate the race swapping just for the sake of it.
Well, I can defend that based on lore, but that's really nerdy. To me, it was just more, he looked so cool. Everybody had more issues with the Chinese guy who was part of the Warriors 3.
True.
Hi, Tristan. But
Tristan.
He was just so cool and he looked so good in that really, really restricted helmet, and he just so sold it. I thought he was great as Bloodsport. I would like to see him be able to do less artificed parts. Give him something we can actually do more, like something like a premium cable role.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is there's so much competition now, right? Because we got Jeffrey Wright in certain parts, and then we've got blinking on the guy's name. He's playing Kang the Conqueror. Oh geez.
Hold on. And after this, let's get back to talking about, since we have Tristan here and Tristan in the chat, when we get back to talk about Peacemakers, and she's been loving it.
Yeah, but what is his name? Jonathan.
I'm looking.
Jonathan. Not Winters. That's a completely different guy.
Hold on. I'm looking.
He was also in that
Majors. Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors. See, he's fantastic too.
Oh yeah, he was in Lovecraft Country, The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Can we have those three guys in a movie together? I would watch that.
He's going to be in the Creed movie, the sequel that Michael B. Jordan's actually directing.
Oh shit, that's gonna kill. Oh, I'm a sucker for Rocky movies, and I actually think
and I gotta say, the Creed movies have been like a unexpectedly great spin-off.
Really, really good. Really, really good. But I mean,
I'll be honest. The second one was kind of weak because it just felt like it had to be done, but it didn't really have to be done.
I enjoyed it.
Well, I enjoyed it, but you get what I mean compared to the first one.
Well, this gets into the involvement of Stallone and my concerns.
Who's done now? Who's done now? He's
what are we talking about now?
Creed. The Creed Rocky spinoffs.
Never seen any of them.
Have you seen the original Rocky, Bianca?
No.
Oh,
that's
never interested me.
See film.
That is a must see
all time.
Oh well, okay. I got you this, Liana. Where's your stance on the Rambo movies?
I think they're very smart for what they are.
Yeah, well, here's my thing. With me and Ingrid, we did a marathon last year.
Ingrid.
Yep, Ingrid. And we ranked like this. We go 1, 4, and 5. We actually did like 5, 2, and then 3. But here's how we look at it. 1, 4, and 5 seem to be almost more necessary. 2 is only necessary so you can get him stuck in Vietnam.
5 was John Rambo, right?
What?
5 was John Rambo?
No, that was Last Blood, was 5.
Last Blood was 5.
4 was just Rambo. It was originally called John Rambo, then became Rambo.
What was the most recent one?
That was Last Blood.
That was Last Blood. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we know that those were our favorites. Was 1, 4, and 5. 2 was. Yep.
2 was It's a Phenomenon. Let's make a lot of money.
Yeah, but as far as in story reason, we only count that because it was needed to get him from the States to Nam, which is what you needed before. And then 3, completely superfluous. The only thing that was good about that was him and Troutman.
Third movies
was boring. It was boring and generic.
They're difficult. I mean, remember Superman 3? I think we'd all like to not.
Yep.
We already mentioned that, Tristan.
We did mention that.
I want to say no, Tristan.
But I'm just saying, 3, I'll say this, Last Blood, there's a lot of stupidity to it. But it feels like it brings things back because it's happening in the States. And it's the most personal it's ever been for him. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm a big. I know he said some not PC things as a person, but I'm really big on Sylvester Stallone's work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Expendables! I cannot wait for Expendables 4.
He's a really underrated writer as well as an underrated actor, and he just keeps like Rocky. He just keeps getting back up.
But even though he's starting to really show his age lately, ever since Rocky Balboa, that was the last time in a movie I've seen him where he actually looked really good. Since then, it feels like he's really showing his age.
The extreme plastic surgery is starting to not age well. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Expendables, it kind of works because of all the way he's dressed and is always in darkness. But when you saw him in Creed 1 and 2, and even in Rocky, not Rocky, Rambo Last Blood, it's showing. It's really, he looks like a worn catcher's mitt.
Rambo, I thought it was more noticeable because with Rocky, you can kind of believe that he did need some reconstructive surgery because he just got his face beat in so many boxing matches, right?
Yep.
So I didn't mind that as much, but yeah, he's a shining example of be judicious with the procedures you get because it does not age does not age naturally. You do get that weird sort of plasticky, not all fitting. Yeah.
And again, the wrinkles start to show through even more when you do it.
We're totally opposite. Jennifer Beals looks fantastic.
Oh, okay, that's true. I'm saying no, with Sly. I'm talking about with Sly. It's showing.
Yeah, no, but have you Jennifer freaking Beals, man?
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett, and she's smoking.
Oh yeah. Oh, like I say, this speaking about with Mandalorian. Who is the actress who was the armor?
I don't know, but I love her.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, though, the badass scene, she didn't do! That was a stunt woman who's on YouTube, actually, who was incredible, but no one gives her the credit.
But that's what they do with Mando as well. That's not Pascal in that suit most of the time.
The funny thing, though, that the actress who did that action sequence, the stunt woman, she was also the stunt woman for Tigress in Stargirl. She did all the stunt work for Tigress in that, and for
oh wow, okay,
yeah, and
another show I love.
Yep, and she also did some of the stunts for Wildcat as well. Like that bit with her scraping down the walls. That was that stunt woman.
Okay, but we have not talked about Peacemaker nearly enough.
You're right. Let's get back to Peacemaker. So, where do you think it's going? Like, when do you see the stuff with Munn? Do you think he's actually, like, he just wants to explain himself, or do you think he's out for the kill at the end of the recent episode?
Who?
Munn.
Oh, the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
She's too good a character to
kill
whack.
Off. The fact that that's the daughter of Amanda Waller.
Okay, but this is where I think, because she's the nice one, right?
Is she though?
That's the thing. She's the daughter of Amanda Waller. You're seeing her ability to manipulate people. Is she really his friend, or is she pretending to be his friend because she's supposed
her mother keeps saying it's in there. Now, I do think her talk with her mom are sincere, so I think she really doesn't want to do it. And how many? You're right. That's the stunt woman, Lauren Mary Kim, who I should also point out was also the woman who did the stuff for Ahsoka during the fight with Darth Maul at the end of Clone Wars.
Good for her.
Oh yeah, so she actually got the fight against Ray Park.
So she's like the biggest badass in Hollywood right now.
Even though she gets no credit for it.
Well, we're talking about her.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm saying, but if you look up her YouTube channel, Lauren Mary Kim. She's done so much. In fact, she does a lot of. In fact, I'll put it in the private chat.
Wow,
hold on.
She's got a ton of credits.
Yeah, but yeah, there's her YouTube channel.
Wow, like the Mandalorian Clone Wars.
Yeah, well, I said she did Ahsoka.
Capture?
What? Yeah, she did the motion capture of Ahsoka during that fight.
She is just like the stunt double for everyone.
Yep. And like I said, she was the armorer during that great action sequence.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, she does all these other videos that show her doing all this different her fighting styles and everything.
She Iron Fist, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, that show.
Oh yeah, and most of her roles are just bit parts.
She was Elektra stunt double.
Yep.
Oh, she was in Into the Badlands. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that show. That show didn't get enough of a chance.
Yeah, but again, this woman is incredible.
Yeah, she's.
And again, when you look,
impressive resume.
Yeah, and again, when you look at it, I mean, she's even done stuff where if you look at her stunt reel, she's actually crashed a car while it was on fire.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just put her in the Mandalorian? Yeah. Because then they don't have the stunt performer for everybody else. Maybe she can't act. Like
maybe, but she does give good facial expressions if you watch some of these videos.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. She's super talented, but yeah, I do think they're going somewhere with Amanda Waller's daughter.
Yeah, you do know that in the original, during the Suicide Squad, the woman who hit her across, it was the golf club, was originally, her name is the in-comic name of Amanda Waller's niece. But of course, they've retconned that saying, nope, no relation. At least she's not dead. At least she's not dead. She just got arrested.
Yeah, but they're definitely teasing something there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's what we're supposed to completely underestimate her. You think like this big black girl, you're like, why is a Waller not like the? I just realized she looks more like the Wall than the Wall does.
I thought that while I was watching it.
She looks more like she has the big bulk that you normally associate with Amanda Waller.
Yeah. I actually thought physically she's more of the Wall.
Yeah, I've heard so many people complain saying, "Oh, the Wall and Amanda Waller's daughter's fat." Like, So was Amanda Waller, you idiots.
Well, she's not. No, she's like shoulder and then down.
Yeah.
Like she's
Yeah,
actually
she's
the
a
way.
wall.
She's actually the way Amanda Waller looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the one I hope is that they don't do an actual relationship with Harcourt and Peacemaker. I think that would ruin.
I don't think they're going to.
I hope not.
I do like how her change is natural. I do like that. It's not being forced like other shows do. It feels a bit more organic here. I mean, it feels
I could even see her with Vigilante more than
actually. How many Liana's? No one screws the wall.
Yes,
I still love hearing CCH Pounder say that in the Assault on Arkham. No one screws the wall.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, Harcourt's
Taylor says she might not look the part. She nails the part. She nails the part.
Yes. No. Oh, she does. I think after you see her performance, no one can question why she was cast. But it is cool that they put in someone as her daughter that looks more. I mean, in general, I like because it's supposed to be in that kind of part of America that exists, but you never see on TV. I like the fact that even the people who like, Peacemaker has meaningless sex with, the women look more like the people you'd see at, the salad bar at that, local family restaurant joint than Hollywood. Right. And there is a real B-movie blue collar feel to the whole show that I just think is so deliberate and so good.
Now, here's a big question. Who do you think is going to be the final bad guy? Do you think it's going to be Munn? Do you think it's going to really be this Butterfly? Do you think his dad's going to end up being a bad guy? Do you think Vigilante is going to somehow be a bad guy?
Well, is there another White Dragon kicking around?
No.
No, it's
not that we know of.
Not that we know of. Because that was a character that was used by.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Vigilante ends up being the final boss.
Yeah, because but we do. Wait. Was he there when I just forgot? I'm just blanking now. In the recent episode, was he nearby when Peacemaker had his X-ray helmet on?
No.
Oh.
Because he was behind him with the chainsaw.
Yeah, but do you think he would have looked at him at any point?
He does his best not to look at vigilantes, so can't rule it out.
Yeah.
Can't rule it out. I mean, we know. I mean, maybe it's. I don't know. Quite frankly, I do not care.
Now, one thing that I still want to. I want to see Batmite. I want to see Batmite appear.
Isn't it funny that he's canon now?
Yep.
Yes.
You know what the funny thing is? If they get Affleck to do it, but he does this it's goofy Affleck doing this little, like, hey, I'm Batmite.
Ben Affleck doing a Ryan Reynolds impression.
Yes.
That's Batmite. Yeah. Oh.
Or they get Paul Rubens back from Brave and the Bold.
I mean, I'd be good with that. I love that episode of Brave and the Bold, but
getting
Affleck.
I love Batman Brave and the Bold.
I would love to have Affleck do it. I don't think they would. I would love, though, for him to do Batmite. If the fact he set it up, I have a feeling that's going to be the end stinger. Why do I have a feeling that's going to be the end stinger of the whole series?
See, I'm torn because the thing I love about the Peacemaker series is so much of the throwaway dialogue.
Yeah.
And I mean, that whole ad lib segment where he just threw out names of celebrities that he could have arrested other than his father. And there was no way that was written because it wouldn't have been, you can't remember that many random names.
Right.
But
I did like the endings where they add more dialogue to the scenes. And so he was naming
outtakes,
more.
I was going to say.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to watch it. Ask if you're watching the end.
The singers.
Yeah. I mean, there's no wasted moments in that show from the opening credits.
Which that's Alan Tudyk doing it.
Well, no, it's not. That people are reporting that wrong. What happened is the choreographer is Alan Tudyk's wife.
Oh.
Right? And so when they were putting it together, it was during COVID quarantine. So she was sending video to James Gunn, this is what we had in mind. And she needed to see how non-dancers, I mean, the choreography is so brilliant in that, because it's a combination like 80s breakdancing and then modern contemporary Martha Graham, like hold the uterus stuff. Like
it's both stiff and yet was movement, I think.
And John Cena can move for a big dude.
Oh yeah, I mean that dance of him completely in his underwear.
I really give him credit for the emotional places he goes.
Like, you look at him, he's muscles upon biceps upon biceps. And yet it doesn't look disgusting.
He's one of those guys, wrestlers have that quality where you don't notice how little they're wearing because there's so much meat there.
I know, I mean, it's like the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's more of a slimmer build compared to Cena by comparison.
I don't know. Dwayne Johnson's huge.
No, he's huge. But when you look at how he is, though,
his build
is more. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, The Rock's got, like, Dwayne Johnson's got that overdeveloped upper
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Biceps
upon biceps.
Cena's a fire hydrant, man. He's like a brick shithouse. And
funny enough, he did a Nickelodeon movie as a firefighter.
Yeah, like he's just all core. And it's interesting. I mean, because the way they design the costume and everything like that is designed for that.
This guy makes a good point. Hardcore showing him off at her biceps. Well,
Hardcore can actually dance. I love how in that they put the people who can actually dance in the front, and that was what you used to do.
And then I love the eagle though, how he misses his cue.
I love the fake heavy breathing right at the end when he does the judo master on his shoulder and he's like, and
I just loved it. Again, I just loved it. Like I said, how the what's the eagle's name again? Eagly. Eagly. That's what I saw. And I just love that how you just see he just like, oh, makes my cue like, like you had to train the eagle to do that.
The thing about Eagly, though, the way that character is used, referring to a CGI eagle as a character, it's almost like that eagle is the way James Gunn is sort of saying it's okay to like these terrible people because they're not all bad. The eagle hugged him.
Even his dad, as horrible as he is, still took care of Eagly. What is that?
His dad is the other thing about it is I don't know if you've ever visited one of those southern trailer parks.
No, I've not.
The details they managed to get into some of those scenes it's surreal, but it's pretty well crafted. And the fact that they are kind of, I mean, they're deconstructing a side of America that you don't normally see on TV because let's face it, the Robert Patrick character, like what's his name? Augie. That's normally just this cardboard villain that
barely utilized.
And he just comes up to, I am the person everyone is allowed to hate and seen. Right. Whereas they're actually showing how this intergenerational douchebaggery happens in a particular segment of America.
But just that moment when you realized, oh crap, he's actually more important than we thought. That moment when he just sat down there and everyone's just like, and all that. Once he's in the prison. Because at first then you just thought, oh, this guy's just a major asshole. But then you find out, oh crap, he's a grand wizard, basically the equivalent of a grand wizard.
Well, they had the white dragon costume in the background before that scene. I think before that
they used it on it too, I believe.
But you didn't realize though that guys were in the prison though.
Well, and that's another nod to the fact that there are race gangs in American prisons. Like, you can't put people in different gangs in the same shit will go down. And I mean,
that cop, I like that cop and how even though she's like this guy's scum, but what do we do?
I love the interchangeable white guy lines. Like he did one, and she just like it made no sense after a while. It was
Yeah,
just
they like
oh,
food,
you
like
think I'm
spoon.
done?
Everyone does fork, or everyone does whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
some of the weird random white guy names she was throwing at him, like older white guy names. It just is so
I'm running out of white guy names.
smart. What's that, Bianca?
That moment she said, "I'm running out of white guy names."
Yeah, I'm running out of white guy names. Like it just it is what happens when you allow somebody to do like it's auteur it's an auteur project, but it's not insufferable.
No, and again, as much as he does change the characters, it's still in a way that works for the story. It's not like changing it for the sake of changing it,
But
like some other people have tried to do.
well, I
Like when
mean that James Gunn's really good at that. He picks these like Z-list superheroes who don't
you can't
have a
change,
ton of
the one that you
backstory.
can change.
Well,
I
yeah, I
love
mean
Judo
that
Master.
Oh yeah,
Judo Master's actually not far
and
off.
I love how the actor himself defended himself. You know, he's like, I love doing this role. What the hell are you guys going on about?
I
Oh,
was
were
literally saying like, I didn't. When I was looking at it, I'm like, what's so offensive about this character? And then you see him in the car listening to some J music, and I was like, gosh, dang it! And I was like, wait, this song's actually pretty fire. I accept it.
Well, it's also, have you looked at the rest of the show and how everyone else is treated?
Yeah,
But they focus on that one person. They're like, this role is offensive to Asians, and I'm like, out of everything, that's
that's
what
what
you
they're
pick.
focusing on. And again, when the actor said, "I love doing this role," shut the f up.
But also the fact that they reduce him to that,
Mm-hmm.
that's
When he's
more.
more than that.
But also, have you watched the rest of the show? Also, he's like what, 4 feet tall?
I thought that was cool for me as a 4'11" person.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Oh
especially
wow!
with Peter Dinklage warring with Disney
Oh
over women.
god!
Like,
I just learned the full context.
Yeah, well, yeah, the fact that those people lost their jobs and they are rightfully pissed.
what's that?
The people lost their jobs over that.
Well,
The guys that they fired everyone that they hired for the roles over that, and they are not happy about Ed Dinklage, especially since he's not a part of the cast. They're like,
okay,
well,
but that he made a valid point.
true.
You're doing a live action Snow White and you don't hire little people?
True, but wasn't
Wait, they
Hornswoggle one of
weren't
those that got
hiring
hired?
little people for it?
Well, his whole point was, okay, you're race swapping Snow White to make some point, but you didn't hire actual little people to play.
I thought they did, and I thought he was talking about. At first, I thought he was talking about like rewriting the script so that
They're not
it
called
won't
dwarves.
be offensive to the littler
I thought
people.
too. That's what I thought
like,
it was too.
You know, and
See,
then I
I
heard that
don't
everybody
think-
got fired, and now I'm hearing that they weren't little to begin with, and I'm
Yeah.
hearing all the little people going after him about it. That little people were fired. What?
It's interesting. Well, why would they fire little people because he complained like?
Well, because I think they were more complaining that he's not even part of the movie, and yet they're catering to him.
Okay,
here
so
we- here
now
we go.
I'm
Here's
with
the
Liana
story.
here. If they
Yeah.
weren't actual little people, then I completely understand.
Yeah, if they weren't actual little people, I completely understand too.
Because
Okay, so
the guy who played
Disney-
Hornswoggle on WWE also made a statement about it too.
And he wasn't happy at all.
Disney apparently put the whole project on hold.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
That's apparently what happened. And there were some little people cast. But Disney's put the entire thing on hold to rethink the characterizations.
Yeah, according to this, Peter Dinklage is not receiving the support from the dwarf community that he probably thought he was going to get.
The dwarf community. This is what we're talking about.
That's what I'm looking online right now, and
This is the sort of thing where
here's what hold on. Dylan Postel, I think that's Hornswoggle. Did he? Hold on. Declared and his stand on it by saying, like, it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, not Snow White and the Seven normal-sized humans like in every other movie.
Apparently, he's saying stop and think what you're doing because apparently, little people are subjected to Snow White jokes, which
That's true.
Which I thought Peter Dinklage was talking about, you know.
I see. I don't get why people are getting mad at him for making a valid point that Disney had a reaction to. Like, don't they have pay to play clauses in their contracts? If Disney cancels a film through no fault of their own, they should still get paid.
Yeah, but the guy Hornswoggle makes a good point. You had no problem when you were an elf. You had no problem being Tyrion, but now Snow White's where you draw the line, and you're not even involved with it.
Okay, but let's face it that these are interchangeable singing and dancing characters, and some of them are named Dopey. It's a little different. Like, are you going to totally retell it and make it seem like they're not all living in the same house? Like,
true.
He has a valid point.
He does. That is a good point.
I mean, have you seen the Hervé Villechaize biopic that he did?
No.
He's great in it.
All right.
I mean,
I remember him in Endgame where they make him a giant.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's sort of feeling like, okay, I played Tyrion Lannister, and now what?
True, but he's not involved with this movie, though, so it's not like they typecasted him.
This is just one of those things, getting back to what we were talking about at the beginning. What are actors allowed to say? When are they allowed to have opinions? He didn't say everybody should be fired. He said, "Here's the exact."
If I remember, did he say he's actually is he approved though of the changes they're doing, which would include the firing?
Well, he said, literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback when they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. In response, Disney said it would consult with the little person community to make sure the new movie isn't offensive.
But I had no problem with that at all.
But I don't think I was saying they're dropping the word dwarves, even though that's what they are. These are the folklore creatures.
But Dinklage didn't ask them to do that.
Okay,
he made a valid point. What Disney does with it, what other people knee jerk about it. Again, same thing I said with Gina Carano. Let's take what he said, and it's a valid point. The original Snow White does. I mean, okay, the original folklore, the original fairy tale.
But it was worse. It was far worse.
Okay, it was they like rape her. The original fairy tale.
Sleeping Beauty too, but only
I had to study it in college. It was like, whoa, this is
okay. Sorry, since I don't know how much more time we're gonna have left, but we did have one more topic to get to. And funny you mentioned studying something.
Yeah.
The mouse stuff.
Oh, right. We haven't talked about this yet. Jeez.
Yeah, I am not happy about this at all.
I think we should baseline what actually happened.
It was taken from the curriculum. Yeah. Part of that reason was because they couldn't edit it because of copyright reasons. They said that was part of the reason.
But also, they did not say they were removing it because it dealt with the Holocaust.
It was for backdoor reasons, as you have put it.
That bad language, because we talked about this off air.
Goddamn, 8 uses of the word. God damn it.
And also one scene with a naked mouse lady in a bathtub.
No. That wasn't a mouse. That was a human. And then the rest were naked mice. Male mice.
Okay, but it's still very rudimentary line art. It's not.
And you can barely tell even. You can barely even tell.
I just want to drill down on the fact that we are talking about content for 8th graders.
Right here. See, look.
Right.
You can barely tell.
Okay, it blurs on mine. So
yeah. Well,
like that's not.
You can barely. I know. Even that. Even
that's not Playboy.
Even when I look at it. Oh, and the fact that one of the teacher had the gall to say, "Well, didn't art draw for Playboy? That would explain a lot." Fuck you. There's been a lot of great artists who came from Playboy.
Ditko drew adult content.
Jack Cole.
Yeah, Jack Cole. Jack Cole stood by it. I love Jack Cole.
Yeah. Jack Cole. Plastic Man came from Playboy.
That makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. And you guys know I love Plaz. Plaz is one of my favorite DC heroes.
He's one of my favorites. I got that one.
Now, Elongated Man.
Yeah, Elongated Man is the usurper. Don't like Elongated Man, but that's a story.
I like Ralph Dibny. I just do not like the fact with him, the character of Ralph.
Are we talking about in the Flash, or are we talking about Elongated Man in general? Yeah, it depends on who writes him. Like, it's all about who writes him.
I know, but I do like the idea of him being this great detective.
Sure. I mean, the thing about Plastic Man is that Jack Cole did some of the all-time great 12-panel comic book art ever, in a time where it was transitioning from like the strips to books.
And the fact that he gave him a weird pear-shaped sidekick and Woozy Winks, whose ability was he killed. Well, he can't be hurt.
He was actually a criminal. Like he was like a bank robber, right? Before he became Plastic Man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that whole thing about him is that he, because of the monks that saved him, he realized what a dick he was. So he decided, well then, I'll continue on as a criminal, but then apprehend these people as Plastic Man.
Yeah. I love Plastic Man, but
anyway, back to Mouse.
Okay. Let's give the Tennessee School Board every benefit of doubt that they did remove it for the reasons they claim. Let's not Godwin this. Let's just look at the stated reasons. It's still a problem.
It is, because especially, again, some of the stuff they said, like, oh, yes, we know all of this horrible stuff happens, but do we really need to show all the details? And here's my issue. I'm starting, the more I think back to it, I barely remember the history stuff because they were such broad strokes. I don't know how it is in Canada, but when I recall in the States, it was such broad strokes, pro-American in many regards. And just very much, obviously that's not going to be where you were and what you were, but
up here in Canada, we're teaching kids how to use condoms in the 8th grade. One drawn naked lady is not, that's why I'm so stunned by all of this. Like,
my middle school was different.
Yeah.
For 8th graders, I was reading this in middle school. And I loved it. It opened my eyes to how great comics can be. And then when people were saying, and I've seen some people try to come together and say, well, why do that when you can get it from an actual text? Why did it have to be comic books? It's like, because according to Art Spiegelman in this book, Meta Mouse, where he at one of the questions they asked, one of the 3 questions, why mice, why the Holocaust, why comics? He said, was comics? He couldn't think of any other way. That was like what he felt it. And when I've read it, it can't work any other way. You can't keep the mouse portion. If you do it in text, you'd have to describe. You'd be too distracted by describing all the details about being a mouse. Doing it animated, you'd have to water it down for animation or live action. But it's completely...
I reject the question. I go the other way. Why not a comic book? Why are you discounting the medium? If it's something that a kid is going to read and remember and learn,
that's watch good. Movies.
Well, I think that the fact that it's mice and cats as
the Jews and the Germans.
And it's a sort of thing where, because it is a metaphor, maybe people will receive the message. Because I continue to be taken aback, like, as a person who keeps kosher, when people are like, I'm so tired of hearing about the Holocaust. I'm like,
I love this part where you have this one guy saying, I'm a German like you. I have medals from the Kaiser. My son is a German soldier. And then you see this bit of him as a cat. It says, was he? Who knows? It was German prisoners also. But for the German, this guy was Jewish. And I also do love it how near the end, how you have it be where it turns out this one German woman took in this Jewish man and they married. And when we see their kids, they're hybrids. They're basically the mice with the cat stripes. I love little details like that.
Yeah, the reasons given, I think there should be a very high bar for pulling something that does have educational value with nothing to replace it. They said, we're going to find something else, but they don't have
the parent. That should
but
be
they
up to
don't
the
have it.
parent. But
They-
I know. People
They
starting to
don't
say
have it.
Anne Frank. It's like Anne Frank is not going to reach the same level.
No, to a modern kid, Anne Frank would be boring as anything, The Diary of Anne Frank. They're not
Yeah,
going to care. It's a
exactly.
comic book. Who
It's like this.
cares?
Here's the thing: parents are allowed to pick to if they don't want their kid reading it, they're allowed to change it if they can come up with something of a fitting replacement. They cannot say you can't do the lesson. No. But if a parent has an issue, they should be allowed to complain about it.
My parents honestly don't give a crap.
Exactly. Because
Well,
it's up.
that's the thing about, I mean, this whole school board fight. I admit the whole school board fight in the US is terrifying to me.
Oh yeah, the
Me
fact that
and
they're taking out Why the Last Man and uh yeah, some other books from from the libraries. Even they're banning them. Why the Last Man? It's like, why? Because it's CRT. You guys, people are saying you guys are using that as an excuse, and this is what I was afraid of happening. I was afraid of the religious right just coming back stronger than ever.
this isn't the same though. As somebody who went through the whole D&D thing in the 80s, those people were insane, but I think they actually believed what they were saying. They actually did think Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah. This is the case where they're pulling the same stuff the SJWs had done, where many of them don't believe their own bullshit, but they're using it anyway to their advantage to get what they want.
But it just strikes me as, you cancel Dr. Seuss, fuck you.
Oh God, yeah, and the fact that the Dr. Seuss estate went along was that.
Well, to me, that's apples and oranges. To me, a copyright holder deciding they don't want to publish anymore, that to me is the same as like Neil Young not wanting to be on Spotify anymore. We own it. We're removing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the control you have as a copyright creator. That is not the same as a school board banning a book. Or I know people get upset when you say book banning, because it's not, you're just removing it from curriculum. But they are still removing it from curriculum.
They made it very clear that if they could have, they would have censored it, which is just as bad.
Okay, but not even, because let's think about this. What is the swear word?
God damn it.
God damn it. They are backdooring blasphemy laws, and there is supposed to be separation of church and state in the U.S. public school system.
Exactly.
That is not a word. These are 8th graders, meaning they can see PG-13 movies.
And the context makes sense too. Most of these people are people of faith, very strong faith, and they are being challenged by their faith, given all the evil happening around them.
Okay, but
did you hear the other comment they made?
What?
I guess they tried to defend themselves, and they said that, oh, we have no problem at all if the kid were to read this book in a library or at home. We just don't want it in our schools. And I'm like, well, that makes no sense at all. They said that if they read it in school, that it would affect them in a certain way than them reading at home or them reading in the school library.
I read it in school.
Okay, reading it at home when there's no ability to contextualize it and guide them through it, compared to, this is just a flex. This is just...
I say they should get a copy of these alongside it. This should be required. Oh, you're right. But
yeah, I thought that made no sense at all, and I'm like, this honestly feels hypocritical.
Well, that is hypocritical.
You would still have, like, even if you read it at home, like, they didn't want kids talking about it in school while learning at school, and I'm like, well, if they read it at home, people talk about it at school, though.
Again, everything I read from those things sounded like we just want to say the Holocaust was bad, okay, and move on.
I think, again, I would say, if I thought that, I really think that this is just, we're doing this because we can. There is so much of that in the US culture wars right now, especially surrounding comic books. There is this belief, because, I don't know, things are taking on religious connotations that are not religion. Everything is becoming either sacred or profane. And there is this thing within right-wing circles that they take stupid, I'll use your word, SJW tactics, weaponize them, and fling them back 3 times as hard.
Image.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that sort of says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. But again, they'd say, we're not banning it. You know, it's the same argument of, we don't hate gay people, just don't act on it. It's bullshit. Right? But the point is, separation of church and state, period, end of story. If you claim to be a strict constitutionalist, if you claim that, you know, the Second Amendment is protected, so is separation of church and state, so is freedom from religion. And not even most religious people. I mean, Art Spiegelman is clearly a religious person. He clearly does not think, God damn it.
He's openly admitted he's not as much as you think he is. He's not as much into the religion because his parents were so overtly religious, but he knows it very well.
That's what every Jewish person who isn't perfect says. I say the same thing.
True.
Right? Because you can never do it all. But I guarantee you he does more day-to-day practice than these people complaining about a problem with a word again that most 8th graders confront every day on television made for their age group, movies made for their age group.
Right. And again, there's only 8 instances of it. 8! In the whole book, and however many hundreds of pages of this, 8 times. You have barely visible nudity.
These are 13-year-olds. They can watch Ron and Hermione making out in Harry Potter. Oh, they probably don't because it's witchcraft, right?
God, if that comes
in 8th grade, we had books. I have no idea what the series is called, by the way, but it's mostly like Black American books, like Black American protagonists and all that stuff. And
here's one of the moments where the kid getting abused. Look at him just wearing his head off and then throwing against the wall.
It's a book about the Holocaust.
I know. And the immediate page right afterwards, this the son, Art's brother, who we never knew,
right,
gets poisoned. But so he can not suffer a worse fate. And yet the way it's done, and it's all off screen, but it has such an impact. But again, it's just like horrors against children. One kid gets swung against the wall. Yes, horrible enough as it is. But then throughout the most of it, then it's the hanging and everything. It's like, that's what happened. Why, again, this is why I feel they want to water down the history.
Yeah, sorry, what were you saying, Bianca?
Sorry.
Sorry. So there's usually about these Black American books. I wish I could find the name of it or whatever. But there was a specific one I read in 8th grade. And I guess it was supposed to be like a mental health thing or whatever, because at the end of the book, the main protagonist just became so frustrated with everything, with the friend's death due to drugs, or I think that he just ends up killing himself at the very ending. And it was like, okay, so how do you think you could have prevented the problem? Well, it was hard because before he killed himself, he would say, like, his girlfriend would say, let it out, but his father would say, be a man, keep it all in, and all that stuff, and he just couldn't choose, so he just ended it. And they weren't they didn't sugarcoat it. Like, they literally said, okay, so the gun's in my mouth, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, we read a lot of those in 8th grade.
There was a period of time where I was in high school when Kurt Cobain died by suicide. So obviously,
I will say this. If this was anything under than 8th grade or out of middle school, hell no, keep it out. I would not want a little kid seeing this stuff.
But it's 8th grade. These are 13.
I know. I'm just saying, if it wasn't in 8th grade, if it was anything younger, or if it was out of middle school in general, hell no, keep it out. I would not want this in a elementary school.
Well, you have to be age appropriate, but again, I mean,
I'm just saying that's where I would stand on this. Is that I would say keep it out if it's younger than that. But the age that they were taken out of, that's why the problem is. It's like, no, and I saw someone trying to argue it, saying, kids should learn that they're going to be censored because everyone's going to have their best interest. I'm like, F off.
Okay, here's the thing that, because I always play long ball with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be shitty for a while, but these kids have about 5 years before their parents will not be able to hide the world from them anymore.
Exactly.
They're gonna
My mom was hiding the
rebel.
world from me.
This goes for both extremes. And it's one thing I've realized. On the left wants to censor things because of their own personal fifis. The right do it because they want a shelter.
Well, it's
I'm talking about the
essentially
extremes on
same
both sides.
thing.
I'm talking about that. Well, yeah, it is pretty much. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty much the same thing. Just the reasons are just slightly nuanced.
Yeah, to me it's all about feelings, right? It's all magical thinking. It's
Fifis,
all,
yeah.
Instead of getting people prepared for a big bad world that is going to be really crappy to you.
Which I know I was prepared for it.
I was a child of the 80s. We were, it was, hey, it went from, we're all going to get blown up in nuclear war to, hey, the population's aging, and when you go out, you're not going to find a job. This was what we were told day after day after day after day after day.
Yep.
And, I saw the change in people just, my sister was 3 years behind me in school, and she was getting, just try hard on everything. And that's not life. Like, you don't get a gold star for anything.
That's why I hate the participation trophy generation.
But this is a direct result to me of the participation trophy generation, because the resilience was not developed, the critical thinking was not developed. Remember the old, if Bobby jumped off a bridge, would you?
Yep, and this guy's like, wait, why Bobby? And these days now, instead, they'd want to find like, who's Bobby? What? And they'd be just
it's you can't even use those shorthands anymore. But this is going to blow back so hard. But what's it gonna look like when? Because can you imagine your kids in the 8th grade and your parents are acting like a bunch of assholes around other parents, because this stuff spills over, right? Like, parents fight over this stuff, and kids are seeing parents act like massive assholes, and they don't necessarily have the vocabulary to know why, but they know that mommy is acting in a way that they've never seen mommy act before, because mommy is going full Karen.
Oh God, yeah.
I know firsthand, that's scary when you're a kid, to see your parents overwhelmed by that thirst for power and that seemingly Red Lantern shit.
Oh boy.
You know what I mean? You never forget it, and you don't necessarily trust things, and you're not sure why. And so these kids are going to end up pretty damn damaged. I think the parents think that they'll be able to force their kids to stay kind of church just for a lack of options.
I was so grateful my parents they never forced me to go to church. And I think because my brothers were autistic, and myself too, but them especially, is kind of why we stopped going to church regularly. And I think in the long run that ended up working better.
I mean, I've been forced to go to a series of religious buildings because, when you live in small town USA, there's this pressure to go to church, even if you're not of that faith, because all the community services, I mean, the pools run by the church, the rec rooms run by the church, like the basketball courts run by the church.
Especially if you're a minority.
Yeah. Or you're even in an impoverished white area. Right.
Yep.
So
now I will stand by this though. Do I feel though, like, and is there a good point to having religion and faith? Oh yeah, part of the reason why so many more without something like that, it's why so many of these people grab onto these causes with such fervor, because they have nothing to believe in. At least with religion, you can have something to believe in. Now, should you go to the other extreme? Hell no. But
yeah, I'd much rather people actually went praise Jesus than talking about
praise CRT.
Well, I'd rather that than people saying there's something sacred about the Superman symbol or Batman or anything like that. No, they're not. These characters that have had multiple origins over the years.
Yeah.
Some I like, some I don't like.
Are you looking forward to the Batman? Are you looking forward to the Batman?
Oh yeah.
Yep, same here.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking more forward to the Superman one.
The Michael B. Jordan Superman?
No, the animation. Oh wait, are we talking about the animated one or the
No.
The Matt
My
Reeves,
bad. That's my
Twilight guy Batman.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
I love Robert
Pattinson.
Pattinson.
That clip sold me. That clip they showed of him in the church sold me.
I thought he was good in Tenet. So
me too.
Yeah,
I love
Tenet. I'm looking forward to
I've never seen it.
Just I liked him in Tenet. The sound mix drove me crazy in the movie, but I thought I'm like I can see him as sort of a more restrained Bruce Wayne here, and I'm looking forward to the way the way they can design the costume around his very angular facial features. I think that's kind of a cool thing.
I believe they took some inspiration from the Adam West costume.
Oh, that's interesting.
From the cowl.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I gotta say though, Tristan and I have been gone back over Batman Earth 1, and I think they're taking a lot more from that than we thought.
Isn't it like year 3?
Kind of. Or
I heard it was year 2.
Year 2, something like that. It's not year 1. They're very clear that it's not Batman year 1. He's been Batman for more than a year.
Yeah, but what I like,
Batgirl's going to be year 1, I believe.
Yeah, but yeah, I do like, because in here they actually have a beat at Riddler here. We don't find out till partway through. It's all con. He doesn't believe the riddles, because at the point where Batman gets it right, he still blows up the train because it's a cover. And very Zodiac killer like. And in fact, you want to see how the Riddler looked in? I mean, have you read this before yet? Have you been, Liana?
I don't remember. I'm still recovering from a COVID booster. I'm kind of half in days right now.
Oh no! I hope you have a speedy recovery.
I'm on day 5 now, and I keep going. If this is what the booster is,
first of all, here's Killer Croc.
I didn't get COVID.
Here's Killer Croc.
Yeah, see, that looks like the Arkham game Killer Croc too.
But smaller, a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Is the pain the reason why you haven't been answering me on Twitter?
Actually, yeah.
I knew it. I knew something was wrong.
It was like I was just sleeping for 2 days straight. I actually had
I don't blame you.
I was like, dang, she must be so busy. And I'm like, oh, I heard she got the booster shot. I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I was.
Here he is. Here's what Riddler looks like.
Oh, that's.
I thought that was Joker. What the heck?
No, that's Riddler right down.
That's weird.
And he had a little question mark right on it around his
eye.
Does
Riddler should not have abs. But it's comics. Everybody has abs.
I still love it all how the Alfred.
Just say maybe this is why I like Vigilante too. I'm more on like slimmer dude builds. Can we have some like sleeker things? Does everybody have to have abs? I don't want everybody to have abs. It just freaks me out.
Yep, I gotta say, I do like how Alfred's pretty much Sam Elliott.
Oh shit, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, Sam Elliott, the actor. But yeah, I love that. But that's a perfect Alfred right there, if you ask me.
There are a lot of perfect Alfreds.
I think Annie Ser's going to do a great job too.
Yeah,
I want Alfred.
I want Alfred to get more love in the comics again.
The weird Alfred was in, I believe, Beware the Batman.
Beware the Batman.
Where he looks like a bald, secure bodyguard.
Yeah.
And they're like, Batman is a bad A. And I'm like, well, he was always one. Just because you made him younger and bald and all that.
Wait, Beware the Batman or just the Batman?
Beware the Batman. It was the CGI Batman.
The one that had Katana.
Then there was that whole weird arc where it was that Alfred became the outsider and was purple.
Oh no, okay. In the regular comics, he died. They killed him off.
He died, yeah.
But then they found out they were going to put him in the show. Yeah. So they brought him back first as the outsider where he was whitish, grayish with a bunch of these boils on him.
That's right. It was so weird.
Like, and then they brought. Yep. Hold on.
Hold on.
They actually brought. Hold on. 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 Hold
The man who killed the Bigfoot.
Yep.
I gotta run soon, guys. By the way.
Okay, well, I was gonna start wrapping up anyway. So
I don't have a life.
So
yes, you do.
I just go to work and go home.
That's a life.
So, what? What would you say? That's a life. Oh yeah.
I just go to work and go home. That's a life. It's like,
That is a life.
I work from home. Some days I'm like,
thank you
what's the
two
excuse
so
to go
much.
outside?
Yep, thank you so much for joining me. Glad we can get all these topics up. It was been a real pleasure. And
yeah, we covered a lot of ground in an hour and a half.
Yeah, normally it takes us all this long to get it 3 hours to get that much.
It shows more focused. We got a timeout. We do a lot less fucking around. We do far more refined fucking around.
And I'm more willing to say, okay, can we jump to this now? Can we jump to that now?
Yay.
Okay, it was a blast, guys. Thanks so much. Fun as always.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.